Hello there. Hey, thanks for joining me again today, and good program for us today as we look at the essence of parenting and some of the important aspects of parenting. And again, let me just remind you that we do have a course online called Parenting Better. And if you need a course in parenting for some reason or would like to take a course in parenting, I recommend this one to you. It's based on my book, Dr. Teach Me to Parent. And you read a couple chapters of the book, you listen to my podcasts, some of these programs on CentralValleyTalk, and then you complete a course, and at the end, Fresno Pacific University issues you a certificate. And if you have to kind of give that to the court or somebody to prove that you've taken the course, then that would suffice. So if you need a course in parenting, do it online. You can do it at your own leisure and do it as you're able and take as long as you need. It's up to you. So it's at your own leisure. So Parenting Better, I recommend it to you. And my book, Dr. Teach Me to Parent. You can get that on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or from my website. That you can just contact us there and we'll get you a book. Now, today's program is kind of a three-part series. And they kind of come together because I think it's important for parents to get some real essence of really what's going on within the home and within their parenting relationship with their kids. The first part of my presentation today is kind of how do you bring your kids into your life closer? How do you bring them into the parenting and into the family life in a closer way so that there's a bond, there's a relationship there that is established? So how do you do that? We're going to talk about that a little bit. Then I'm going to move on to what some parents do. Unfortunately, they push kids away. So it's almost the opposite. You bring kids into your life, into your person, into your family, or you push them away. And we're going to talk about how parents push kids away. And unfortunately, there's a lot of kids experience that in their family life. And then the third part today, I want to kind of just focus on a very important issue. How do you destroy your kids? How do you, as parents, do things in your home that will destroy your kids for the future? We'll end with that one today. So let's take a look at where we are and just that whole concept today of how do you bring kids into your life. So to put it in perspective, let me give you a quote. This quote comes from Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. And he says this: every home should have at least one children's hour every evening. Now, what he is really advocating for is that dad and mom, sometime during the evening, you put away everything that you're interested in and you devote your time to your kids. Get them out of the room, get them off their cell phones, and you as a family interact together, doing something, puzzles or games or talk or watch a movie together, but you're doing something together as a family. So that's what you want to do every evening, 1 hour with your kids. I'm reminded of one of the historians that I personally favor and have a great deal of relationship with over time as I've read much of his stuff, Jonathan Edwards. Jonathan Edwards worked many, many hours during the course of the day. 16 hours was common for his work hour, for his work day. But every evening, he devoted 1 hour to his kids and 1 hour to his wife. And then his day was over. So it was the idea that he needed to connect with his kids. He needed to connect with his wife apart from his work day. And he had a lot of kids, by the way. So it was quite a chore for him. But he was a devoted man to his family and to his marriage. And that's how he enriched his relationship with his kids, enriched the kids' lives, and then as well as his marriage itself. So parents, look at it from the point of view of an hour in the evening. Devote that to your kids. Give them a parent time. Give them a family time. Get them a memorable time. Very, very important in family life. Okay, now let's take a look at this issue of how do you bring kids closer? into your life as a parent? How do you bring kids closer into the family relationship so that they feel connected, that they feel that they belong? They feel like there's a partnership within the family. They feel like there's an engagement between parent and child. They feel like there's a bond that has kind of built there. And there's a kind of a feeling of joy, a feeling of happiness, a feeling of common goodness within the family relationship. So how do you do that? How do you create that kind of sense of oneness within the family so that kids aren't off on their ways and you're off in your way, but you come together and you feel the sense of oneness and you feel that sense of family relationship? How do you do that? Well, let me walk through a kind of a little list of some of the things that parents need to keep in mind in bringing about that kind of an objective in their relationship with their kids. First of all, catch your kids being good. That is, reinforce good behavior. You got to catch your kids being good so that you can praise and affirm good behavior. You got to be looking for good behavior. Don't look for the bad behavior. Don't look for the mistakes kids make. Look for the achievements. Look for the good things. Look for the fun they're having. Look for the accomplishments. Look for the positive things that kids are doing. And then thank them for that. Praise them for that. Affirm them for that. Reward them for that in tangible ways, in very special kind of ways. If it's really unusual, do something unusual as a reward. But you will bring kids in as you reward good behavior. But you have to notice good behavior first. So catch them being good. Now, of course, parents punish. Of course, parents bring punishment as part of the discipline of a child and discipline of a family life. But you do that in a moderate manner, and you do that in a manner that is a teachable manner. But your focus is not on punishment. Your focus is upon reinforcement of good behavior. Here's the catch idea. Punishment of a child tells a kid what not to do. Reward and praise and affirmation of a kid for good behavior tells him what to do more of. We want you to see more of that. That's what praise does. Do more of this and less of that. So look at it in that context. Of course, praise is important, and of course, discipline in the form of some mild punishment may be important at times. But catch them being good and put your emphasis upon rewarding positive behavior. Okay, that's number one. Here's number two. Consult people. Ask people how they have done it, how they brought family together. Ask your own father. Ask your own mother. Ask people that are friends. I mean, bring people into your life that you can consult and that you can ask how they have made family life unified and made it a pleasant experience for them. So think back over how you were raised. Talk to your parents about how they did it with you. And then maybe some of that's good, maybe some of that's not so good. But learn from your upbringing of what to do more of or to do less of. That's what you do when you consult with your own parents. And then the third point is there are times to consult with professionals. You can bring your family together sometime when you just get professional guidance. Sometimes you need to work through some issues between you and your child. You may have some tension. You may have some conflict. You may have some anger issues. You may have some resentment issues that you need to kind of work through. So consult a professional. Go together as a family. Go together as dad and son. Go together as mother and daughter. Go together as father and daughter, mother and son, all the various combinations. Don't send your kids to counseling. You go with them. Be part of it so that you learn better parenting and you build relationships and you break down the barriers that naturally occur within family life. So consult sometimes your parents, friends, but also consult professionals. And then here's the next point. Devote time to your kids. Devote time to your son. Devote time to your daughter. Devote time to your kids. And make that time an enjoyable and a learning experience. That's the critical issue. It's not just spending time, but you want to build a memorial. You want a memorable time, together. Something that will last, something that you can go back to and remember and to think about and talk about years later. So the idea is, how do you devote time with your kids in a way that it is enjoyable for them, particularly, and enjoyable for you as a parent. And then it's a learning experience. You're learning to do things together. You're learning new opportunities together. You're learning new skills together. And then you'll have that memory that you always can go back to and talk about as family life. So devote your time to your kids. It's time. It isn't lots of time necessarily. Sometimes it's just 10 minutes. Sometimes it's an hour. Sometimes it's 15 minutes. Sometimes it's a few minutes. But it's that time that is special for your kids that they will remember, and that it's a positive learning experience, for them. And then I'd also recommend that you have opportunity to address what I call the strategic issues in life, the strategic issues that kids face every day in their life. And then you deal with that in a very strategic way in a strategic time. It may be a school problem that they're dealing with. You need to talk about that. You need to help the kids work that through. It may be a peer relationship problem. Those are life issues, for kids. Help them work it through. Give them some guidance. Give them some advice. How to work through some of the issues of everyday living with their peers. It may be the issue of drugs that have come into their life or have been introduced into their life. Deal with that. Spend time on that issue. It may be social influences of various kinds. It may be the sexuality issues that take place within the peer relationships. It may be the political issues that are going on in our world. I mean, there are issues, what we call life issues, that kids know about and kids are concerned about and kids have to deal with. And as a parent, get down and deal with those issues with your kids. Talk about them. Discuss them. Make them a discussable point. One of the things that has come to our attention recently, and that is it's hard for families to talk about politics. It's hard for two people to, even if they're not family members, to talk about politics. Politics is one of those topics that is hard to talk about. Sometimes religion is a topic that is hard to talk about. You know why that is? Because we don't talk about it when our children are young. If you talked about politics when your kids are young, and as they grow older and as they are aging, then it will be easier for you and them to talk about it when they're adults. It'll be easier for them to talk with other people when they're adults. You see, talking on a topic starts when a kid is young. And then it continues on through the years as they age. And then it'll be easier for them to talk about that topic as they are an adult. So don't think the idea that you can't talk about politics. Don't think that way. Don't think you can't talk about religion, like those are taboo topics in some way. No, they're not. If you introduce those topics for discussion early in life and make it part of their conversational life, make it part of their social interactional life. That's what's important in bringing about conversation on typical and tough topics that go on in our world today, and politics is just, one of those. Here's another way to bring kids into your life a little bit closer. Apologize. Parents, you blow it at times. At times you really, misread your kids and you overreacted in some way, and you need to apologize to your kids. Kids will forgive. Kids are forgiving people. Kids are able to recognize that you blew it and that you understand that and you're sorry for it and you ask for their forgiveness. You teach kids how to apologize by apologizing. That's what the role of the parent. So make apologizing part of your relationship with kids. It brings them in closer, but it teaches them the skill of apologizing. So every kid needs to learn how to apologize. Every kid needs to learn how to receive apologies. Because apologies are healthy. Apologies build relationships. Apologies build character. So you need to be an apologizing parent. You need to recognize you did something wrong. You need to tell the kid that you did something wrong. You need to tell that you're sorry for what you did. You have to recognize that you hurt your child in some way and that you're sorry for that. And you ask for that forgiveness. And then you rebuild that relationship. So apology is a series of steps. It's a series of interactions that take place, but very, very important. Kids will forgive, but you have to ask. Kids will forgive, but you have to go through the process of asking that kind of forgiveness. It's not just say, forgive me, or forgive me for whatever I did, or however I hurt you. That's nonsense. You often hear that on television for people who kind of apologize to the public. If I hurt you in any way, I'm sorry. That's nonsense. What did you do wrong? How did you hurt somebody? You're sorry for that. Ask for their forgiveness and rebuild that relationship. It's a step, series of steps. And learn how to apologize, because it's important for kids to learn to accept apologies and to apologize themselves. But it builds that relationship when you do it. It brings kids into your life when you do it. It creates an openness, and it puts the barriers down so that kids and you can rebuild your relationship. And then here's another point. Take your son, take your daughter to work with you. Now, some of you men work in situations where maybe it wouldn't be appropriate to bring a daughter to your work. Maybe it would be. If so, bring her. Bring your son. Mother, where you work, bring your kids. Bring your son to work one day. Bring your daughter to work one day. Let your kids see where you work. Let kids meet the people with whom you work. Let people see the process that you go through in your work. That teaches them what that kind of work is. They may like it. They may not like it. You know? But get the idea that your kids need to be proud of your work world and the people in your work world. That brings kids into your life. Don't make your work separate from your home. Don't make your work separate from your marriage. No, bring that into your life fully, that your work is so important to you that you want to share it with your family. You want to share it with your husband and wife. You want to share it with your kids and bring them into it so that they can see what you do and how you live during the workday. But it also teaches them that kind of an occupation, and maybe they would like that. So you're opening the doors to occupational education, if you will. Now, your job as a parent is to expose them to all kinds of possibilities. Your job as a parent is to introduce them to all kinds of work worlds and work opportunities, occupations, and so on, so they have some opportunity to think it through and to practice what it would be like to be an attorney, what it would be like to be an accountant, what it would be like to be a carpenter, what it would be like to be a construction worker, and so on. Help them see that. Help them live that life. Part-time work is a good way to do it. But help them make their occupational choices and introduce the options that are available to them. And you have a job to bring them into that work world, that occupational world, and you do it starting with your own job and bringing the kids into it. And then foster educational advancement. Foster educational importance. Foster college importance as your kids increase in age. We raised our kids with the idea that it wasn't a question of what college they were going to go to when they graduated from high school. It was the question of what college they would go to and what they would major in, because it was a foregone conclusion that our kids were going to go to college. And that's what I think is important for you as a parent. Foster educational advancement. Of course you want your kids to graduate from high school. Of course you want your kids to move on into the college experience. And then beyond the college experience, as they're able and as opportunity comes their way. But your job as a parent is to make education important. Make education a valuable experience. Share your life, share your educational experience with them. Advise them, help them go beyond what you did. Help them experience the kind of thing you experienced in your educational life. It's an important process to do. It's an important process to bring into the life of the child so that education becomes a key component to their life as they increase in age. It's like a goal that you set out in front of them. It's like an objective that you put out in front of them. Do that. Make college a valuable goal, a valuable experience to work towards, and you share yours and you encourage and you introduce them into college experience. And you do that by visiting colleges. As kids get into high school, you go visit colleges. Let them see what it's like. Have them spend a weekend on a college campus. Go to college campus events of various kinds. Expose them to the college experience. That will help them make that decision of not only going to college, but help make that decision of what college they might go to. So educational advancement is critical. It starts in the home. It starts with you. Maybe, Mom, you'd want to go back to school. Maybe you didn't finish. Maybe you didn't have the career that you really wanted to have. And family life and so on interfered. Maybe you want to go back to school. Talk about that with your kids. Dad, maybe you want to go back to school or advance yourself in your educational advancement. Talk to your kids about that. Do it together. Go to college together as a family. It's okay to go back and continue on in your education, even though you're a little bit older. So college advancement, educational advancement, you foster that. You encourage that. Okay? So bring your kids closer to you. Help them experience that sense of engagement, that sense of connection, that sense of partnership and that interest and that bond and the joy and the happiness and the satisfaction that comes from family life being pulled together and being part of a relationship that can be obtained in no other way except in your home with your family and with you people making up your family. So bring them closer. Now, unfortunately, we have parents that do something very different from that. We have parents that push kids away. We have parents that in their parenting process, they find a lot of hostility. They find a lot of anger. They find a lot of tension. And kids are pushed away by that. And if you live a life in your family that kids spend time away more than they spend in your home, you got a problem. You need to do something about that. You're behaving in such a way that you're telling your kids to leave, go elsewhere, spend time with your friends, spend time in the homes of your friends, spend time just getting out of the house. Are you pushing your kids away? That's the question. And if you are, we need to kind of take a real close look at that and say, change it. Do something different. Okay? Now, I'm going to start with a couple points, then we'll take a break, just to introduce this topic of how you push your kids away. Here's one idea and how parents do that. They use conditional approval. Conditional approval. Conditional approval says this: if you do this, I will like you. If you do this, I will talk to you. If you do this, I will praise you. But it's conditional on the basis that the child does something to earn your approval, to earn your attention, to earn your appreciation, to earn your time, to earn your experience together in an activity of some type. That's conditional approval. The kid has to earn it. And you don't give just freely statements of love or caring or appreciation or thanks or anything like that. You wait until the kid does something that you like, and then you express your approval. That's conditional approval. That pushes kids away. They have to work for it. Now, a kid will do that for a while. But after a while, he says, that's nonsense. I can never get my dad's approval. I can never get my mom's approval unless I do something that they like. And kids quit. They give up, and they spend time away. They move away from you as a parent. And by that, you're pushing your kids away. And there's a second way that we as parents do that. We threaten our kids, but we don't follow through. You know, if you threaten your kids that you're going to somehow punish them, or you're going to take something away, or you're going to hurt them in some way, and if you don't follow through with that, your voice is empty. Your words are empty, and the kids just don't listen to you. Kids won't listen to you. They know that you're not going to follow through. You know that that's just an empty threat. Kids know that. Kids figure that out very quickly. And then they behave in any way they want, and they just count on the fact that you're not going to follow through on the threat that you make. And lots of mothers and lots of fathers raise their kids by threatening them to spank them, threatening to take things away, threatening to ground them, threatening to do this or threatening to do that, but never follow through on that. And kids learn very, very quickly not to listen and not to obey a parent and to actually spend time away from a parent. Because why would you want to spend time with somebody that talks but never follows through? Why would you want to spend time in a relationship with somebody who threatens but never follows through? You don't want to do that. So you spend time with other people. You move away from the home. You leave out of the home. You get away from your parents. It's the follow through that's important. Now, obviously, you never threaten a kid if you're not going to follow through. If you're going to threaten a kid, you better follow through. But I don't like the word threaten either. If you just talk to a kid and say, look, we're not going to do this. And if you do this differently, you do this better, we're going to have some good times together. And I'm going to praise you, and we're going to give you a reward and so on. But if you don't do that, then we're going to have some discipline. We're going to have some punishment. But then you follow through on that. Whatever you say, you do. Make sure that you are one to follow through. And here's the third point, and then we'll take a little break. Ridicule. Many, many, many parents ridicule their kids, and that pushes kids away. Yesterday, I had a conversation with he's a kid, but he's about 26 years of age. And he related to me the story of how he was ridiculed by his mother when he was 12, 13, 14, and 15. For several years, she relied on ridicule as a way to control his behavior, as a way to motivate him, as a way to get him to do his homework, as a way to get him to do his chores, as a way just to follow her advice or to be obedient in some way. She called him all kinds of names: lazy, pussy, you poor kid, you'll never amount to anything, and on and on and on and on it went. All kinds of ridicule that she used as a way to control his behavior. And to this very day, 10 years later now, he still is resentful towards her for acting like that and talking like that and calling him all those kinds of names and ridiculing him in public and in front of his family, in front of his friends, and in front of other people. She pushed him away. And now trying to rebuild that relationship is tough. It can be done, but it's going to be a tough one. But can you imagine a kid living for years, 10, 15 years, with that memory of being ridiculed and put down and being talked to in sarcastic kinds of ways, only for the purpose of getting him to do his homework or something? Not using positive reward, not using positive reinforcement, not using positive words, but relying on these negative, put-down words of ridicule. Unfortunately, that kid is paying a price and has paid a price and will pay a price for years yet to come, even if he resolves it. Lots of kids have been controlled, been motivated, been managed in their home through ridicule. Parent, if you're doing that, you're pushing your kid away. Stop it. That's the word. That's the word. You got to stop that kind of behavior. Catch the kid being good. Remember what I said right in the beginning? Catch the kid being good and reward that kid and positively reward that kid for good behavior. It will pay off much better. You'll get more out of it, and you'll build relationships. You won't push kids away from that relationship. Okay, we're going to take a break. Coming back as we talk about this topic of how we push kids away as in our parenting process. So go get a cup of coffee, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes.
When I set foot on the campus to come visit it, I was struck by how open and how welcoming that the students and the professors were. Coming to Gordon was like coming home.
I think intentional community is what Jesus modeled with his disciples, and Gordon has really fostered a good place for intentional community to happen.
Gordon is a place where you can meet people from all over the world and hear their stories. I meet a lot of different people who are shaping who I am today.
Gordon seeks to graduate men and women of character and of leadership, and the world is the place where Gordon students belong.
Choosing to go to Gordon was, I think, one of the best decisions I've made in my life. Expect to be changed.
The in-house services we offer here are Total Life Change, anger management, one-on-one biblical counseling. We do a marriage enrichment, codependency and chemical dependency one-on-one counseling. We have a relapse prevention piece. We also do a lot of workshops where we inform and educate people on different topics. There is one-on-one individual sessions, and we also have group therapy that we work in a group. We find that can be so advantageous when you know you're not alone. The key is to call, email, online, and get a hold of one of the receptionists here, and we will do an assessment. We are not here to direct, guide, and force. We're here to meet you where you're at, then direct, then guide, and then give you options to break free.
When you need a dentist who has a passion for superior aesthetics and comfort, you need Dr. Christopher Wong with Cedar North Dental. Call 559-432-4948 or visit cedarnorthdental.com.
Tanya, come here.
At Boys and Girls Clubs, it's not just about trying new things.
Kitchen in my hometown.
It's not about learning the right steps. 4 or making contact.
5, 6, 7, 8.
It's not about exploring the future. It's about helping them build it. It's about taking steps to greatness. About making a connection. It's about proving every kid and teen has what it takes. It's about people in our clubs who bring out the greatness in every kid who enters our doors. It's not just about being on stage. It's about walking across it. Great futures start here, and here, and here.
Sat7 is a Christian media network that uses uncensored satellite television to broadcast across the Middle East and North Africa, and is also available globally online.
Central Valley.
Okay, welcome back. We've been talking today on 2 topics out of 3, and that is, how do you bring kids into your life as a parent? How do you connect with kids? How do you create that sense of family oneness? We went through a whole bunch of steps and things that parents can do to bring kids into their life. I encourage that. And then we shifted to a second topic, and we're in the middle of that right now, and that is the parents that push kids away. How do you do that? How do you push kids away from you? How do you push kids out of your home? How do you push kids away from family life? Abandon them, basically, if you will. How do you do that? Well, we just talked about the use of ridicule as a strategy of family life and a strategy of motivating kids. It will push kids away. It will not bring them into the family life at all. So stop the ridicule. Here's another one. Parents who yell and scream all the time push kids away. You know, if you are a screamer, if you're a yeller, as a way to motivate a kid or get kids to get up off the couch or get off the chair or get off the cell phone or whatever it might be and do something, you're going to push kids away. Nobody wants to be near a parent or near a person who yells and screams. When people yell and scream, what do? We back away. We walk away. We leave that person. Stop yelling and screaming. That pushes kids away. Especially when you're upset. Because if you're upset and then you yell and scream, kids are going to be overwhelmed with emotion. And they're going to leave you. They're going to stay away. They're going to stay away as much as they possibly can. That's just overreaction. It's not a good way, to do it. Well, then here's another one. If parents are too busy to listen, that pushes kids away as well. If you're just too busy to listen, you're not there to listen. They come home from school and nobody's there. No dinner time together. No evening time together. No bedtime together. Parents are gone or they're just too busy. And kids then just get the idea that they live their own life. They live it separately from parents, independently from parents, and are pushed away. Now, maybe parents don't mean to do that, but they push kids away accordingly by just not being able to listen because they're not there. There was a research study done some years back, which is a very interesting study. It showed this, that when parents work, now that's father and mother, only 20 hours, those kids are well nourished and they're well cared for and they do well and they thrive. When parents work a total of 40 hours, then kids start to have a little bit of rough edges. When parents work 60 hours, they do have trouble with their kids. Then kids are left alone, too much. So if you put father and mother together, 40 hours together, 60 hours together, 80 hours together. And when you have parents that are working 60 and 80 and 100 hours all together, father and mother, those kids are being left alone. And they are prone to wander. They're prone to just live their own life separately from you as a parent. You can't spend all your time in work and then expect your kids to be part of your life, part of your family. They're going to find other people. They're going to find other families. They're going to find other ways to spend family time. So be there and be a listener. Okay, here's the next point. Silence. If you use silence to punish your kid, you're pushing your kid away. And a lot of parents will do that. I won't speak to my kid for a day or 2 or 3 or 4 because he's been misbehaving. Use that as a punishment. Use that as a whip. And if you use silence and you just kind of avoid your kid for a day or 2 or 3, that kid gets the message that he can go elsewhere and get attention. He can go elsewhere and have people to talk to. So you're pushing him away through your silence. Criticism is another way of pushing your kids away. The excessive use of criticism. You're using more criticism than you use approval. You say, Criticism tells a kid that you don't like him. Criticism tells a kid you don't like what he's doing. You don't like things about him. So that negative impact that you are having on your kid. Approval says, I like this about you. I want more of you. I want more of this. Come into my life even more. Come and be part of my life even more. That's what approval says. Be part of me. I want to be part of you. But criticism is a push away. So if you're using too much criticism, stop it. You're using a lot of criticism, stop it. Shift over to approval. Look for the good that your kids are doing and do a lot of approval. You don't need to use that idea of criticism as your punishment strategy or as your control or your motivational strategy. Using negative terms is another way that parents push kids away. To refer to your child as a Dumbo, to refer to your child as a retard, and refer to your child as an unmotivated, lazy kid, or, whatever terms you may use. And we have lots of different terms of criticism and of negativism by which we refer to our kids, especially in public. And if you use negative terms in public and your kids hear that and kids know that, you're pushing your kid away. He's going to get away from you because he didn't want to be embarrassed. The more you embarrass your kid, the more you're pushing that kid away. So if you're using negative terms to motivate your kid to do something, stop that. Negativism does not work. Negativism pushes kids away. And then if you openly talk about your kid in a disappointing way to other people, that pushes kids away too. If you go to the neighbor, if you go to your friends, if you're out in a social situation and you're talking about your kids, that topic comes up, and you talk about your kids in a way that you're disappointed in them, you're angry at them, you're upset, with them, whatever it might be. If you do that to other people and your kids know that and hear that, and they will, by the way, they will, that pushes them away. They don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to be talked about in a disappointing kind of way. They don't want to be subject of talk in the social world that you engage in. Kids don't want that. So what they'll do, they'll hide from you. They'll become more withdrawn and be more avoiding. And you're pushing your kids away as you talk about them in your disappointment of them to the friends that you have. And then, if you keep your kids guessing about the love that you have for them, they won't know if you love them. How are you going to keep your kids in your life? It's by letting them know that you love them and convincing them that you love them, and that in many different ways you convey that you love them. That brings a child into your life. But if you don't talk that way, or if you're only critical, if you're only sarcastic, if you're only negative as you talk about your kids, that's not love. That's telling your kids you don't love them. That's telling your kids that you're not a loving person and they're not a loving child. So be careful when you are trying to convey to your child your feelings of that, your acceptance of that child. Be very open and be very direct that you do love them, convince them that you love them, show them that you love them, and act in a loving way. But avoid those kind of things that says to a child, you don't love them, or they don't even know if you love them or not. They're not sure. You're making them guess. That's not fair, and it's not right, and it's not healthy, for a child. So, you can push your children away. You can push your children into your life, pull them into your life, bring them into your life, or push them away. It's your choice. It's your way of parenting. It's your style of parenting. It's your way of relating to your kids. They're going to take one message or the other. Mom and Dad, think through how you're relating to your kids. Are you pushing them away? Are you bringing them in to your life? Now, let me just quickly come to my last point. And that is, it's easy to destroy your kids. If you destroy your kids, you're really in trouble, with your kids. And they're going to be in trouble for the rest of their life. Addiction. Any form of addiction will destroy your kids. Mom, Dad, if you're addicted to alcohol, cigarettes, drugs of any kind, shopping addiction, eating addictions, on we go. All the various addictions, and there's about 12 of them. If you live a life of addiction, you're destroying your kid because you're telling your kid to behave that way themselves when they get a little bit older. And you've destroyed your life. Now you're going to destroy their life by the addictive way in which you carry about your life and manner of living. The great addiction that is destroying kids today is pornography. Are you into pornography as a parent? Do you allow your kids to be exposed to pornography in their early years? Let's take a look at this issue of pornography by the numbers, okay? Pornography by the numbers, okay? $97 billion industry pornography is. The whole field of pornography, the money that is exchanged in buying and selling and exchanging services of various kinds, the field of pornography is a business of $97 billion. That's huge. That's huge. We don't have businesses like that. It's one of the largest businesses in the world today is the business of creating and selling pornography. It's very easy for your kid to pick that up. And that's worldwide. So it's not just America, that's worldwide. There are 13,000 films, pornographic films, made every year in America. Those films are made in San Diego. They're made in Los Angeles. They're made in San Francisco. They're made in Seattle. 13,000 films are made every single year that are pornographic and then are marketed through the internet in various ways that people and company buy these films and then expose themselves and their kids to those films. It's a huge business with profit. The profit from films alone is $15 billion. Selling and trading films of pornographic material, $15 billion a year, that market, just the films. Now, 35% of pornography is downloaded on the internet. 35% of all the pornography comes in the form of the internet. And our kids that are using internet unsupervised have a high probability of being exposed to pornography. So if you think of all that pornography, 13,000 films, a business that's $97 billion, trying to get the pornography out to people, 35% of it is downloaded on the internet itself. So you can see that our kids are vulnerable, to that. And 64% of kids seek out pornography. And the age level that they do this is ages of 13 to 24. That's the pornographic age of kids. 64% seek out pornography in that age range of 13 to 24, that 10-year range of age. They seek out pornography, and it's available on the internet by various companies and various contexts that are there, and kids talk and kids share in apps and various ways that they can do that. It's available. 64% seek. Now, 22% of the kids in the age of 18, 22% of them are into pornography, just age 18. So that's a quarter of the kids are into pornography. So if you have kids that are in that age range of 13 to 24, if you have kids that are in the age range of 18, highly likely that your kids are being exposed to pornography. The year of age 8 is the average year a child first is exposed to pornography. Age 8. So we're not talking about kids 13 to 24 or whatever, 18 and so on. We're talking about kids age 8 is their first exposure. But then they look at it periodically, but they become addicted to that as early as age 13 to 24, and then that becomes part of their lifestyle. So this goes back into young children are being exposed to pornography. Why? Because dad's watching pornography. Mom's watching pornography. It's on the internet. It's on the computer screen of dad at home or wherever. Kids see it, and they're exposed to it as early as age 8. The average viewing of kids watching pornography, now this is the average, 11 years of age. 11, that's junior high. That's starting junior high. That's the average age of kids entering into the world of pornography, and then it will be part of their life as they move forward into their early and later adult years. So you see, this is a big deal. This is an important area that parents need to be very concerned about. You have an 8-year-old, you're probably have a kid that's already exposed to pornography and might even show some continuing interest in pornography. Mom and dad, you need to be very concerned about this. You need to be very careful about that. And if you're looking at pornography yourself, and it's mainly dad, by the way, so there are some mothers, but primarily dad, if you're doing that yourself, you are destroying your kid. You're also destroying your marriage. You're also destroying yourself. You're also destroying your relationships with people. You're destroying your family relationships, your marital relationships, your intimate relationships, your sexual relationships. These are all destroyed by the ongoing view of pornography. That is a deadly system by which to live your life and make available to your kids. You've destroyed your own life. You destroyed your own marriage. Now you're going to destroy your kids' life. You're going to destroy their marriage. And I advise kids that are into pornography not to get married, because that's going to destroy the marriage. So why get married to start with? You're going to have a devastating experience if pornography is part of the relationship and part of the life of the man or part of the life of the woman. It should not be part of your life whatsoever. But that's an addiction. And interestingly, it's the only addiction from which you do not die, from which you do not destroy yourself, so to speak. You destroy the relationships, but you don't destroy yourself. You never die from pornography, but everything around you dies. So it's a very serious addiction, to have. So be careful. Okay, now let me just end our discussion today by coming back to a quote that's, I think, a very important quote, and one that we need to kind of understand and kind of remember and maybe memorize. And a dinner table should be more than eating. It should be about teaching. It should be about listening. It should be about loving. That's what a dinner table is all about. Often a dinner table is a work table, but it's a place where the family comes together. It's a family connecting point. You eat there, sure you do, but you also have talk. You also have discussion. You also have interaction. That interaction is a teaching interaction. That interaction is a loving interaction. That interaction is a listening interaction. That interaction is a talking interaction. Use the dinner table. Use the dining table. Use a place at home where you all come together, where there can be food served. Sure, that's important, a counter or whatever. But let it also be a place of listening and a place of teaching and a place of loving and a place of caring and a place of sharing and a place of compassion. So think of it that way. A dinner table, a dining table, a kitchen table is a place where families connect, and you need to be that connecting point as a parent. Well, thanks for joining me today. 3 very interesting topics. how you bring kids into your life, how you push kids away from you, but also how you destroy your kids through exposure to pornography. I caution you, take these 3 topics very seriously. Place your emphasis upon bringing kids into your life, not destroying them or pushing them away. Okay? Bye for now. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
The Green Gables Care Home is a 24-hour assisted living facility for the elderly located in Clovis, California, offering spacious private and semi-private rooms which are wheelchair approved, catering to the special person in your life who needs attention and wants to live in a loving home environment. The Green Gables Care Home has assisted living in secured homes for elderly with Alzheimer's, memory loss, and for your loved ones needing assistance with their activities of daily living. Call 559-297-9438 and visit greengablescarehome.com.
Sometimes good intentions hurt rather than help. For just $1.76 per meal, the Fresno Rescue Mission offers more than food. We offer hope. Please donate today.
Do you need a locksmith? Layman's Lock and Safe Service and Repair is available for you. 559-228-1805.
Gained a lot, learned a lot, and got a lot of love. If it weren't for the knowledge that I had gained from the classes at PCC, I probably wouldn't be the mom I am today. See, there it goes.
I would love you to meet my son, Aaron. My situation was very difficult. I didn't know how my life was going to turn out.
We graduated in June 2010 and we got married in July. And through family, the Pregnancy Care Center changed our lives.
The Pregnancy Care Center was a huge, vital part in helping me walk through that pregnancy, in educating me and loving on me during that time.